So this is Misty. She's actually still in, and she's finishing up my self-love prescription program. So, I'm just coming here to just share her experience, and I just asked her, was she actually really satisfied with the program, and just, asked her for some feedback and what was her experience. So yeah, continue.
So like I was going to say, I was very satisfied with the program. The thing that I enjoyed myself, just for me, was the slow mind shifts, if that makes sense. So like there were moments where I'd be going through the program and then like something would just click. And that for me was the biggest thing, because like I feel like as a whole, as like just human beings in and of ourselves, that when we want to make changes, we always start in the physical realm. And I really think that those changes need to start in a more mental space. And that's what's so great about the program, is like you expect to be like, hands on, like, let's start in this physical place. And you're like, okay, let's change your mindset real quick though. And you're like, but wait, what? You were like, I thought we was going to do the thing. And like, I was going to make lists and check things off. And you were like, that's cute. No.
Misty, you are funny. That's cute. Let's look like, up a little bit.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing though. Like, even on days where like, I was like, I'm behind in the program and, blah, 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 who up to bam, like that mind shift was still taking place, because I was still taking the things that I learned from before and I was still applying them. And so like, as I went through, I would see things like literally I'd have moments where I'd be like, la, la, la. Like just that realization. Like you could have been like, the sky is purple, and I'd have been like, realization. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
tell me like something, like an example. Like, I know it may be challenging, but can you talk on real quick?
There was a moment, and it's very strange because like I read a lot of books. But there was a moment where my brain literally went, every sword has to be tempered. And I don't know if you're a sword person or like have done any kind of like metalworking. So what that means is when you make a sword or a tool or whatever, after you've, heated the metal and you formed it into what you're going to form it into, and you've been like, I have made this tool. What you do is, the next thing you do is you put it into the fire one more time, get it nice and hot, and then you cool it, which tempers it to makes it hard.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, that's what this is. It literally is tempering for your mind. It takes you through, because you're going to go through some craziness. You're going to hit some points in your body that you didn't know, and it's going to be deep in there. It's going to be implanted and gnarled in your soul that you didn't know you had. And you're going to read a question, and you're going to be in wherever you at, your basement, your second bedroom, your bathroom, trying to hide from your kids, just in your feelings. You will be in your feelings. But that's the process that you have to go through. That is that heating and cooling of the steel of your mind that makes you a stronger person. That's what this does.
Yes. And I think that a lot of people, like you said, like going out and looking, because I call it like, finding the symptom of the whatever the cause is, because everything that's on the outside is just a projection of what's really going on inside. So then it's like, if I try to heal this part or change this, it's like you're not really changing the actual cause of it. You're only changing the symptom of it.
Right.
So then it really doesn't change anything, because then it's like, okay, that's just out temporarily. And then it comes up again. It's like, okay, well, why is this coming up again? And it's like, because you're not really getting down to the root cause of it and pulling it from its roots up out of you. You're just,
right.
knocking the branches off, but the tree is still planted. The tree of negativity or, self-doubt or lack of confidence and things like that. So I'm glad that you were able to get that. And I think another thing is, that some people can be like a little afraid, because it's like, oh my gosh, she's saying that, you got to feel these feelings. But I always say this quote, like, in order to get to the light, you have to go through the clouds. And afterwards, it's this sense of relief and healing. And I always talk about, like cleaning out a wound. If you just let the wound fester and just continue to have bacteria, it's going to get worse. But it's like, yes, it does. You have to take off the bandage. You got to look at that nasty stuff. You got to clean it out. It's going to burn a little bit. You know, you got to flush it or whatever, and then wrap it back up. And then you still got to do that process over and over again until the wound has completely healed itself. And that's what we got to think about emotionally with our traumas and our negative beliefs and things like that. So yeah.
And I also want people to understand that, like, the program is just the first step. Like, I feel like sometimes when we go through programs, like any program that people go through, we have this mindset that at the end of the program, all of my problems will be gone. And I'm like, that's not what this is. Like, I'm like, there are moments right now where I'm like, I can see that problem. I'm looking right at it. We ain't gonna get to it today, but I have the tools to work through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have the tools to identify it.
Right.
And be like, I can see it. I can make a plan to get to it, and I can work through it.
Yeah.
And before that, like, I would be like, I don't know why this is happening. And I don't understand. And it was you're just floating in this place where you're just like, you're reacting to things instead of being like, instead of making a plan and being like, I see it. I'm not going to not acknowledge it. Like, I see it, I acknowledge it, and now I have to work through it.
And I think that that's a lot too. When the women come into my program, they're mainly at that point, like you said, like, you're just like, I'm lost, like, it's happening, oh my God, what's going on, like, I don't know what to do. And that is, you know, the goal of my program is not to say that your problems cease to exist, because even with me, you know, I still have things going on that has happened in my life and stuff like that. And it's about coping with life, not saying that, oh, you're going to do this program and you're never going to have an obstacle again. You're never going to be challenged again. You know, we need those challenges, and it's really how we handle those challenges instead of not having them at all. I think I've seen this quote, like, a skillful seller did not learn on smooth seas, or something. I'm probably butchering it, but, you know, a person that really knows how to sell, you know, probably learned how to sell when it was, like, you know, challenging, you know. So we really grow and learn through those challenges. And I'm so glad, you know, you said, like, at first you were just, you know, confused. So tell me a little bit more about, like, where else you were when you first came into it. Like, what was your state of mind?
So when I first came to it, we were in the middle of COVID, which was like the worst because like I tell people, before COVID, I had, and it wasn't like I did it consciously. I had subconsciously set my life up so I was always busy. Like, I would double book myself. I would miss things. I would be like, ooh, I got to switch this to this day. And I was making excuses for trying to hang out with people. I was completely and utterly busy. So I didn't have time to be thoughtful. That is not something I had. I was like, I got to go to work, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I was always busy. COVID struck, and there was nothing. My world screeched to a halt. So all I had was time to think and be me. And I was like, I don't know if I like that. Because at that moment, everything, I think we've talked about this before, everything that I had squashed down, every emotion, every irritation, every second thought, every bad thought, every just condemnation of myself, there was nothing to keep that at bay. And it would just bubble up. I would have moments, like, I have 3 other roommates, and during the day it was perfectly fine. Like, we'd hang out, and like, I got to know them better because we had nothing else to do but to talk to each other. But like, at night, I would go into my room, and there would be moments where I would just literally sob uncontrollably because it was just there, and I didn't know how to deal with it because I'd never dealt with it in my whole life. I was the queen of evade and block. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to deal with it. You can't make me. And you came along and was like, oh, really? Because that's where I was. And it was a horrible place to be in because I had all of these emotions from like just years of like just random horribleness and like and avoidance. And I had nothing to keep it at bay. So like, I would sleep, or I would delve into like books, which I love reading, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I started to realize, like, I'm reading because I don't want to face reality, and that's a completely different scenario. That's not okay. Like, when you start to use fantasy to be like, I would rather be here than reality, I'm like, that's not really living anymore. That's existing. And
Yes.
so I was like, duh. And it was actually Dominique was like, we were talking about Black owned yoga studios. And I was like, I really wish we had one in Champaign. And she was like, do you know Ari? And I was like, no, I don't.
Okay.
So she sent me a link for your regular page, the yoga for self-love, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got on there and I got an email from you and you were like, hey, I'm doing this webinar. And I was like, okay, cool. And I'll check it out. I was like, whatever. Wasn't really expecting much. And then I went into the webinar, and I am a true believer that when the universe speaks to you, sometimes the universe yells because we hard of hearing and we hard headed.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe was like, just angry yelling because everything you said, you could have literally been like, hello, Misty, I would like to speak your soul. Let's go. And I was like, and I was like, okay. Oh, that's what I get for being outside. And I was like, okay. And then like we went through the entire program and I was like, and the thing was is like I'd also had the moment I was like, I told myself that I spend money on dumb stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Random stuff that I don't need and don't use afterwards just because I was like, ooh, shiny at this moment. And I remember you telling me the price of the program. And like, there was a moment, it was a split second where I was like, that's expensive.
Oh, I'm glad
But
you
then,
keep it real.
right. But I was like, but the thing was, I was like, it happened in my brain. And then I remember being like, look, you felt some kind of way after the first time. And she wasn't even talking just to you. She was talking to a group of women. And I was like, we gonna spend this money on dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let's spend it on something that's gonna help us grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, let's do this. And I'm not sad that I did. I'm not sad that I did. It was fantastic.
Thank you. Oh, I got chills. Oh, we. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. That was profound. Yeah, because I think about, not that I'm not an advocate for college, but people spend thousands of dollars on college. And not saying that it's not helpful, because I went, gained a lot from it. But at the same time, it's like some people don't even second guess about that. They know it's gonna be $30K a year, or
Yep.
some even a semester, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna do this for 4 years, and then they come out making $30K a year, and then got to pay off for the rest of their life, and they don't think nothing of it, just like
Yep.
a way of life. And it's like, then they're still dealing with confidence issues, accomplishing their goals, meeting deadlines, being a better person in general, like just a better human in society.
Yep.
And they don't really get those things, but yet they have this job that they don't really like, or, and then investing into school. So it's just like, I want people to see, like, this is something that, to be able to help you cope and manifest and accomplish your goals and build your confidence. Like you said, it's not the end, or it's really just the beginning of it, but you do have the tools that can help you pass this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what really makes our quality of life change. Not
Yeah.
going to a school and getting a job, because I know people that's making $90,000 a year and hate it.
Yep.
Miserable. And it's like, you went to school for 4 years, you graduated, you got this well-paying job, but now you hate your life, and you up all night, and you are overworking yourself, and then it's just like, and then when life throws you curveballs, college didn't teach us that. It didn't
Yeah.
teach
No.
us how to handle life. It didn't teach us how to cope, so I'm glad that, and I think everybody goes through that. I did with my coach. My coach was super expensive, and I'm like, almost was like paralyzed. I had just seen this video diary that I made the day after I purchased the program, and Misty, oh my God, I'm like, I had started crying, because I'm like, I was scared. I was like, I just put all this money down, and what if it doesn't work? What if I don't get the results? What if? And it was just like, but that's a normal reaction. And I think that, we have to allow ourselves to feel that way. If we just pay something and don't feel scared, then I feel like that wouldn't give us the motivation to do the work.
Yep.
Like the expensiveness of it is like, okay, I can't be messing around. I need to see what this girl has to offer so that I can take this seriously. And that's the point of it, because if a person just put down the money and just be like, oh, okay, probably they just not gonna show up, or they're not gonna get the work. And that doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I mean, that does matter to me. Like, I don't want you to, it doesn't matter to me for you to just give me the money. I want to be able to do this, this is where it really matters. So, and then just like one last thing, like, what do you feel like is the biggest takeaway from the program?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say the biggest takeaway for me, two things. One, the ability to, how do I want to put this? I don't want to say break down goals, but like the thought process of like brings like, but also like the vision creators and things of that nature, putting a more putting more laser focus, that's a better way, into what I want to accomplish and what I want to manifest. Because there's a difference between being like, I want to lose weight and I want to be healthier. This is how I'm going to do it. Blah, 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 A, B, and C. Because I feel like a lot of times we have these goals in the thought process and we're like, I want this, and have no idea how to get to it. It is just a far off goal that we will hold on this pedestal until it never manifests itself, because we haven't done the actual like thought process to get there. You know what I'm saying? So that was one. The other one is the being gentle with yourself. Because I feel like a lot of times, like, we, especially as women, we have this moment of like, once you hit that first failure, it's done. Like, we emulate ourselves and we're like, it's horrible. And just the thought process, I remember, I can't remember what it was. I think I was falling behind in the program and I was like super nervous because like I have that mind process, that mind thought process. There it is. And you were like, it's okay. Like, you can do this. Just take it at your own time. And it was just it's a small thing. But like, just that moment of gentleness, being like, it's okay. Like, we ain't all got to be strong all the time, all day, every day. Like, you can be gentle with yourself and still succeed. Like, we don't have to be hard as stone.
Yeah. Yeah. You were kind of lagging, so I didn't know if you was done yet. So that's all I'll say. Is she done? Is she not? So yeah, like the first thing was, I think that my coach, well, no, I'll say the first thing about the goals. So I think that, with one of my clients, this is one thing that just really comes to mind. She wanted to get a cosmetology, she wanted to own a health and beauty spa. She was like, yeah, Ari, I'm thinking about my products that I'm gonna have in my health and beauty spa and what the building is gonna look like and the colors and all this other stuff. And I'm like, hold up, like, you're thinking about products, not saying you shouldn't think about that, but you're thinking about the products you're going to have in this health and beauty spa, but how do you even get there? Like what is the first thing that that you need to even do hair, And she was like, I need a cosmetology license. And I was like, do you have that? She was like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, now let's take a step back, because if you're thinking about products, you thinking about what you're gonna put in your store, you thinking about, and not saying that's not good, but that is when we look way too far ahead. It's like, okay, I want to have my own business. I want to have my own yoga studio. Okay, these are the color mats. I'm gonna start thinking about all the mats I'm gonna get, all the blankets I'm gonna get, and I ain't even certified to teach yoga. It's like, And it's that thing too, where just take that next step. Cause then we have to break that down. I think we did that with you too. You was like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have my own book, or I want to, I think it was something else, but we was like, okay, let's go back and let's think about, going to school, when you go to school,
Right.
what all do you have to, even in that one first step, it's like 5 other steps before that,
Yep.
before you can even get to that. So it's like, okay, now this is doable. I can look at the prerequisites. I can go and call up some people and ask them for some recommendations. I can
Yep.
sit down and type up a personal story. Now those things seem a little, okay, what's the due date? When do I have to have this in by? Okay, this is when I want to go to school. Okay, what's the deadline for that? Okay, let's backtrack it. Okay, maybe not go this semester that's coming up. Maybe go that next semester so I got some more time to give myself. That way that when you do accomplish it, it's like, okay, instead of like, no, let me just push through it right now. And then it's like when you don't make
Right.
it, oh my God, I'm a failure. And it's like, you're not a failure, but you got to set yourself realistic goals. And the second thing about my coach was telling me, because that I had the miscarriage, and I felt that same way when I went into my program. And I was pregnant, so I was super, super sleepy and eating more. And then I had the miscarriage. And at the end, she was like, well, we always feel like we can do more, or that we can be further. But I did gain what I needed to gain from that program. I came into there for one thing, and then I seen all the other resources she had. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to take advantage of all of this. And I am, because once again, I still have the program. But throughout, I did gain something. And she was like, you got to give yourself that too. You got to give yourself the things that you did learn. There's always more to learn. There's always, further that we can go, but we have to give ourselves what we did gain from it. And I felt I had the same experience, but then it's like, you got to understand, of what I went through. You got to give ourselves some grace and some gentleness. Like, girl, you just was pregnant. You just had a whole miscarriage. Like, you can't just expect that you just gonna power through a miscarriage,
Right.
power through a very exhausting pregnancy. So it's just like giving ourselves that. And also, a lot of the things, I think that because the program is this, in a way, physical form, or something you can see, the real work is also that realization. That work is also, let me go and apply for this position or whatever. That real work is also, let me think about why I'm feeling this way. Why am I thinking this way? Why is this presenting itself to me? What can I learn from this? And that's stuff that's done outside of the program that you were doing, and I'm glad that you was able to, really get that and be able to be like, okay, well, I see what I got to do. I see the issue. It may not get handled right now, but I'm not gonna go berserk.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna deal with that another day. I see that. I'm gonna get to you. And that is a very healthy way to deal with your life. Now you're not stressing about it, and you like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just do that a little later. I'm working on this thing, and then just keep it going. And that really allows you to have less stress in your life. So thank you for, participating and showing up and, showing out for yourself. I'm so glad, and you're a beautiful soul, spirit. You're hilarious. So
Yay.
I really enjoyed, working with you. Yeah. So thank you.
It
Thank you.
was a fantastic experience for me too.
Okay.